when Slumdog Millionaire won the Oscar, I think I might have been in the 8th grade or something, and I was so overcome with emotion that like that movie won Best Picture that on my Facebook post at the time where you could say your status is, and I was like, Slumdog Millionaire won, and I spelled the name completely wrong, and I put all these exclamation marks and all these things, you know?
So where are we seeing Venk Potula in the whole future of global entertainment?
I wanted to try and be a role model. I wanted to try and become somebody who could be successful, specifically as a brown man, and prove that you can do this, because it's very difficult to do entertainment from our family background and everything. It's so, just being a child of immigrants like many other communities, it's not something that's common.
Yeah.
And I wanted to not prove them wrong, but just prove myself right and be like, yo, I can do it. If I can do it, and I literally did this with nothing. Like, I didn't come out here with any industry experience. My first short films I made for hundreds of bucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we can all afford to do that, and like I've been able to build that. I want to try and become somebody like a Ryan Coogler or like a Spike Lee, these filmmakers who have an impact in their community and bring their community with them, but also make amazing stories that are both personal and commercial, and can kind of find that intersection.
Hi, I'm Ritika Agrawal.
Hey guys, my name is Venk Potula.
And we're on Off Script. Hi, welcome.
I'm here. Let's do it.
I'm so excited. We've been chatting quite a bit. I know a
Yeah.
little bit behind the scenes of what's going on
Yeah.
with you, but I'm excited to share with the audience a little bit.
Yeah.
Before we dive in, I want to actually start by asking you. So in a recent interview, you said, build your own Hollywood. Be
Yeah.
inspired by your friends, not the Steven Spielbergs. It's kind of interesting. I love that as a creative philosophy, but I want to challenge that a little bit. If you are building your own Hollywood, who is really funding it?
I know, it's a good question. Yeah, I think everyone wants to understand how do you get money? You know, how do you finance something? And I think about it, you know, kind of creatively in a sense. You are. I mean, that is the truth. You are funding it. You know, this idea. I think gone are the days of, you know, the M. Night Shyamalan story of writing the script and then somebody wanting to buy it, and then now you're directing, and like, I think that can still happen, but I think, especially as an independent filmmaker, you have to fund it, and that looks like starting with whatever you have, right? So, for example, when I was starting, I would make things for very little, right? But then what I would do is I would collaborate with other friends who had something that they could get out of it. So it's like, all right, cool, like, I meet my friend who's a writer, and then I want to direct this thing, or I want to act in this thing. So you put it in half, I put it in half.
Yeah.
Right? It's like that, and you slowly, and then when the projects are successful, because you're betting on yourself, then you're able to leverage that into the next, and into the next. So, you know, I think, like for my most recent feature film that I directed, that we shot at the end of last year, I was trying to raise money for it, and it was difficult, and I had asked my dad that, you know, hey, this is challenging, this is tough, and he goes, well, look, if you're not investing in this, why should I or anyone else?
Yeah.
You know what
Fair
I mean?
point,
Do you
yeah.
believe in your project enough that you're willing to put your money on the line?
Yeah.
Whatever money that might be. We all got some money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's like, I think that was really, and of course you get the advice, never invest in your own projects, right? But then you look at the evidence, look at Spike Lee, that's exactly what he did. Like, there's a filmmaker, Steven Chbosky, he did that for his first feature before Perks of Being a Wallflower. Like, the answer is as obvious as it sounds, which is that you gotta fund it.
I think that's like the logical
Yeah.
answer of it, but the emotional aspect is, okay, you're putting this money down. You don't know if this film is even going to be successful.
No.
So talk to me about the emotional aspect of it. Like, okay, you've put in your money, how much ever that may be. You've made this film, and now you're like in the whole festival circuit, let's say. And there's a lot of rejection in this industry. How do you know you're on the right path? Say this movie doesn't do well. How do you continue to invest in yourself again and convince another person to invest if your first movie didn't do well, which is kind of standard. Your first movie isn't your best movie.
Totally, because you're going to get better. But
Exactly.
that's exactly the point. That's the story you tell. It's all about your narrative.
Yeah.
Right? Well, I made a film. It didn't do well. These are the reasons why. And so now that you've done a film, you are more investable as an entrepreneur. The same thing happens in startups. The most fundable entrepreneurs are the ones that have failed, right? Because they've made mistakes, right? The one that just coming out the gate that was successful, it's actually harder to trust whether the next time they're going to be able to do that. So when you failed, you actually have a story you can bring to the table.
I actually do like that a lot. What are some of your learnings from your first movie to now you're going into your directorial debut?
Yeah, I mean, get a lawyer. That's true.
I need to get a lawyer on this podcast.
You gotta
an
get a lawyer.
entertainment
Get
attorney.
a lawyer.
Yeah.
Get a lawyer. They are so important because they represent, and they're expensive, and it's like hard. And when you're kind of dealing with, well, how do you kind of make this affordable? But you got to think about the long term. Getting a lawyer is it's important because they'll have your back.
Yeah.
Right. Getting a lawyer and having them be on the project from the beginning to the end, so that anytime you have to sign anything or deal with any negotiation, any contract, you have somebody there who's protecting you.
Yeah. It's so important.
It's
I feel like
so
we take it so
important.
lightly, especially with now ChatGPT and
Yes.
Claude. We just like put
No,
it in.
yeah, it's like easy
They're
just put it
good.
in writing. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, totally for like an NDA maybe,
Yeah.
the basic stuff. But when it comes down to negotiations, when it comes down, because also they've seen a lot of deals,
Yeah.
right? They understand the specifics of the entertainment business if you get an entertainment lawyer.
Yeah.
So, I mean, get a lawyer. I mean, so many lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get everything in writing. To that point, and really, I think just to not rush, take your time, right? I think a lot of times, like, we're making independent film, like, who's asked, like, the artificial time pressure is coming from ourselves.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, that's so true. Yeah.
It's like, where is all this coming from?
Yeah. Now, how long did you take with your film that you co-wrote?
In terms of which part of the whole process?
The whole process from like writing it to you've filmed it, it's in post
Yes,
right
we're in
now.
post
So
right now, yes.
explain that process to us.
Well, so I had the idea in 2023, and I wrote the first draft of the script. That took about 8 or 9 months, but I was doing it kind of on the side. I wasn't like prioritizing it. And that's because I was producing my second feature, which is coming out this August.
Awesome.
It's called Namaslay, and we're releasing it theatrically in August.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very
That's
much. Yeah. So while I was producing that film, I was writing this script on the side. And then when we finished doing that film, which was in 2024, we finished around in June. And then post started, I was like, okay, now I have some space to big this project back up. And then I ended up meeting my co-writer, and we ended up working on that script for quite some time. It was tricky because balancing schedules, she was busy, I was busy. But then we pitched the project at IFLA last year.
Okay.
At the Launchpad competition. We didn't win, which is totally fine. But I was really inspired by the reaction that the audience had. It really made me feel like, there was something real here. And then, and during that time, I was financing. I was having conversations with investors. I was trying to get the movie off the ground. And then, it all came together at the end of last year. And then we shot it for like 18 and a half days, and now we're in post.
Wow.
So it's crazy.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
Yeah.
I want to zoom out a little bit more, and I think this conversation's more appropriate for anybody that's trying to make a film right now. The first question is, okay, you said that you were having these conversations with these investors. How do you find these investors? That's the first question. I'll come to my second one later.
Yeah. I mean, well, what is an investor, right? An investor is just somebody who believes in you, right? I mean, an investor is, look, you're making a feature film. I got an MBA as well and an MFA, so I went to grad school, and I didn't want to go, by the way. My parents were like, it was COVID, and they were like, what else are you going to do? I actually, in 2019, my dream was to make a feature film, to direct, and nothing would have stopped me except for a global pandemic, I promise you. Like, if I could have just put people in a room, it was gonna happen. I was so hell-bent. But I was talking to a friend, and, we were talking about this difference between, sometimes the line between desperation and ambition can be kind of thin. So you got to really know. So I think that's where taking the time, like, what's this time pressure coming from, So COVID ended up actually being a good thing, because I got an MBA, and I got my MFA. And the thing I learned about in the MBA is you got to think about what is in it for them. An investor is anybody. You can be an investor.
Yeah.
I could be an investor. Anybody here could be an investor. It could be as little as whatever that money is. An investor is someone that is, if you have money in the market, you are an investor, right? So it's a mindset.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, why do you put money into the market? Why does somebody buy Apple stock? It's because they believe that that company will do well, right? And that their investment in 5-10 years could pay out. So the same thing is going to be about how they think about you, right? It's like angel investing. Why do people do angel investments? It's so early stage, right? It's because they believe in the founder. They believe in the person who's presenting the idea. And for me, I think the thing that separated me from maybe other filmmakers is that I was really hard about the numbers. So my pitch decks they've got log lines and images, but they've got Excel spreadsheets. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've got more numbers and data that's backing up why I have these beliefs. It's not just like, oh, I have a great movie and these are 3 comps. Like, that's such a, like, so what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. Can you give us a few examples of what that Excel sheet might look like? Like, what is the data you're backing? Give us an example.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think about it like, well, first of all, there's not something that's there now, but there was something called Section 181 that went from 2017 to 2025, which basically would allow investors to deduct up to 100% of their investment, which is very attractive, right? Because you get an investment. Like, the reason why, Film Independent will have a what is it called? I can't remember what it is, but fiscal sponsorship. Basically what that is, it allows you to take an investment and turn it into a donation so they can get a deduction on it as a donation, right? But that's what Section 181 allowed you to do, was that you could deduct the investment, not just as a donation, but as an investment. So you're getting equity in the film, and you get it deducted in that first year. There's a couple caveats that come from that, and you got to, I mean, this is the type of stuff this isn't the non-sexy stuff, right?
Yeah.
But that's what it is, right? Or you're looking at tax credits, right? What is the math of that, okay? How can you stack tax credits? You can.
Yeah.
Depending on if you shoot it in London, right? Or wherever you are. You can, so you figure out how you're bringing your numbers down, your costs down. So first of all, you're talking about how do you bring costs down? The second thing you think about is how do you add value? So what are you doing that's adding value to the project? Who are the cast? What's the genre? What's the thing? And right? And more importantly than that, you're talking about audience, right? I mean, all this is just business. It's like, why should anyone invest? It's like an investor is someone who believes that they're going to, like, what's in it for them?
Yeah.
Right? Like, how deeply are you as an entrepreneur thinking about what's in it for them?
Yeah. I feel like I'm in a quick master class of what needs to be done to make a film.
I mean, you asked me the question.
Yeah, no. Okay, but still talking about the film, I think one thing that we were talking about before we started filming is how you're marketing it. And when we were chatting even like a couple of weeks ago, you said you really want to bring the community in on the film before the film's out, which I think is so powerful. Talk to me about how you were thinking about marketing that maybe no other filmmaker is kind of thinking about right now. And I'm having this conversation with a lot of people on the podcast, and I'm getting different answers, and I feel like you probably might have something different to say.
I think, I'm from Atlanta, right? So, like, I grew up in a world of Tyler Perry, and I think I found his story to be very inspirational, or even like a Will Packer, right? How he packed up his first screening in Florida and got that DVD. His whole story about how he tried to get into the studio system. He brought his community with him. Same thing with Tyler Perry. And I want to be able to do that and be that person that can contribute and help, like, rising tide lifts all, whatever that phrase is, I can't think right now. But that idea of, like, okay, like, we have a community, right? And it doesn't matter how big or small it is, it's there.
Yeah.
Are we unified? Can we come together? Like, look at Ryan Coogler. Like, these filmmakers that are, like, they're bringing their community with them, right? It's almost like, it's like if Ryan Coogler can succeed, I can succeed. Yeah. There's, like, a sense of that, right? Yeah. And that's sort of what I'm hoping to try and do is to create, first of all, movies and stories that are worth that, right? That's number one, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can't just expect people to show up if you're not bringing something to the table that's worth it.
Yeah, are you really evoking an emotion, or are you not?
Are you really evoking emotion? Are you connecting to that? And, you see a lot of, you hear the stories about how, okay, the South Asian community, you can't cast those actors in these roles because they're not big enough on all these things. Like, yes, of course there's the system that exists, but, we're here.
Yeah.
The way I see it, like, my parents came here, they immigrated here, and I'm born here, and, like, good, I'm going to be here.
Yeah.
So might as well figure out how to, like, get us all together into something that we can rally behind and be like, yeah, like, if this movie wins, it's my win too. And literally. Yeah. And to be that. But we need to make projects that are commercially successful.
Absolutely. That's the whole point of it. Like you said, film is a business at the end of the day.
Film is a business.
Yeah. But okay, I'm going to zoom out a little bit more. So this is, for the audience that's listening, we have Hollywood, and then we have independent cinema, which is kind of outside of the traditional system. But when you started your career, you kind of were following that mainstream Hollywood path, which is like going to UCLA Film School. You got your visibility through Nick Cannon's Wild and Out, which was so cool. And then you kind of started doing independent films. Talk to me more about how you redefined success for yourself outside of the system, the traditional system.
It's a good question. I think I'll give you a couple examples.
Yes, like as I've been asking now, you're like, I should give her examples.
Well, I'm thinking about like what that looks like. I mean,
Yeah.
I think, you know, when we made Four Samosas, we made it completely outside the system, right? Ravi had the script, he had the story he wanted to tell, and he brought me along with it. Very grateful for that, and I put in everything I had into making that film, and not only acting in it, but producing it as well with my production company. And we ended up, you know, that film, we made it independently. We brought our friends with us, and we got into Tribeca 2022, and then we sold it to IFC Films and ended up having a release. And I've even seen Four Samosas in other people's pitch decks.
Yeah.
And I think that is like honestly success for me, you know, because that's exactly what I was saying earlier. It's like, okay, like if we can make films that can be examples to help other people just prove that they can get their thing done, right? Because, hey, look at this movie. This was successful.
Yeah.
Right? But, you know, for me, because I'm a multi-hyphen, I do a lot of things. Like, I mean, on a personal note, I think when we premiered the film in our theatrical release, this guy came up to me, and he was a fellow darker-skinned gentleman, you know, probably from Tamil Nadu, you know, and he told me that, almost with tears in his eyes, that he had never seen someone that looked like him starring in a movie, you know, in a comedy as a romantic kind of lead role. He'd never seen that before, and I was like, that is awesome. You know, that for me was success, you know. I didn't make any money making Four Samosas, right? I whatever I made as an actor, I put back into the film because that's what that is. But I learned so much. So success is like what you're learning, you know?
Yeah.
And then like to kind of put a point to it, I got invited to this Netflix Gold House event through my publicist that I had brought on at the time. They just invited me to this. I don't have any affiliation with Netflix.
Yeah.
I don't not start any Netflix show, and I went there, and there were all these people, you know, I mean, it was great. It was so cool. The Never Have I Ever people, I mean, all these people associated with Netflix projects, studio system projects. And here I am. I was on crutches, actually, because I had torn my ACL.
Oh, my gosh.
And so I was literally dealing with that. Yeah, that's like, I've had two of the worst injuries you can get, an ACL and a torn Achilles.
Oh, no.
It's terrible.
I want to get into it.
We can totally get into that. Yeah, but I'm still recovering. But I walked in there with crutches, you know, and I was like, I can't believe I'm at this like Netflix event with all these people.
Yeah.
And the only reason why I'm here is because I literally made this film independently on my own.
Yeah.
Right? And there I actually ended up meeting some of the cast that ended up putting in my film that I directed today.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So like that's the thing. It's like you take what you've got, whether it's a short film or whatever, I built it from there, you know?
Yeah.
You take the thing and you build. You take the thing and you build and you get the next thing.
Yeah.
Right? And then it'll be the next thing. So that's success for me, is like, are you able to step up, and then are you able to turn those lemons into lemonade?
Yeah, I'm very curious to know, when you're in rooms like these, there's one emotion of feeling absolute pride, right? You're so proud of yourself. You're in this room. You've been wanting to be here. You know you deserve it. And then the second aspect of it is imposter syndrome, which I think everybody goes through no matter what phase of life you are in. Do you experience that? And how do you kind of...
Imposter syndrome?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I definitely had it on Four Samosas for sure.
Yeah.
Right?
How do you navigate that?
I think imposter syndrome, I mean, I think focusing on the work. So I'll give you an example. So I was really nervous with Four Samosas starring in this film. I was like, am I even worthy of this? All that stuff. Like, I've been working hard, sure, but like, am I really, you know, can I really even do it? Yep. And my mom told me, this is like a week before we filmed, and I was having a conversation with my mom. My family, I joke, are kind of like my board of directors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, they got
are,
say everything and whatever, you know? And she was like, you know what we need? I was like, what? She said, you need to memorize your lines. And I was
Straight up.
You're right. And she sat there on the phone with me and helped me memorize these lines and just focus and drill down. Like, when you're getting in that imposter syndrome, you're worrying about what other people think about you, what you think about you. Just go into the work. Go into the thing you have to do to get the job done. Imposter syndrome goes away. Preparation, right? It's like, no, I'm ready because I worked and I showed up for this, you know?
Yeah.
And when that happened, I was like, all right, now I'm here. And now I'm not, all right, let's get to work.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like, oh, like, imposter, like, should I be here? You know, it's all that type of stuff that's like outside of the whole point of what you're even doing in that place.
Yeah, absolutely. So preparation meets opportunity,
100%.
and you are ready when that happens.
You're ready when that happens, or you're not. But then you kind of like the opportunity comes. You're like, all right, I better get ready right now.
Yeah.
So you kind of
you
get
have
there.
to hustle.
You gotta hustle and get there. But that will kind of cure that imposter syndrome.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. We're gonna get into our rapid fire round.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, are you ready? It has to be quick.
Oh, quick. Okay, all right. I know I talk a lot, so we'll be quick.
Okay, first question. Most underrated skill to survive in the industry is?
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna do terrible at this rapid fire. Most underrated skill to survive in the industry. Underrated skill. Underrated. Just. I don't know why meditation came to mind.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's actually a really good one. I was with Ankur, I was telling you, and he meditates, and we kind of had a conversation about
really?
that.
Yeah.
And
totally.
how it like differentiates between rejection because it crushes your confidence, and then stardom reflects with your identity and like all of that. Okay,
totally.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Meditate. It's underrated.
Yeah,
I would say, for
super
sure.
underrated. Okay, that's a really good one. Okay, second question. If not acting, what would you be doing today?
If not acting, that'd be filmmaking.
Okay, apart, sorry,
Oh, yeah,
cheated,
that's
yeah.
like,
There's nothing
okay.
related to
apart
film.
from filmmaking.
Yeah, apart from filmmaking.
What would I be doing? I don't know. I always fancied that maybe I could be an NBA basketball
Yeah.
player. Yeah, but with a torn Achilles and a torn ACL, I don't know. Actually, my physical therapist said, "All right, your NBA dreams are out the window now, buddy." I was like, "I'm gonna prove you wrong." No.
Never say never.
Never say never.
This one I'm fun. Jim Carrey or Rowan Atkinson?
Oh my God. Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's the reason I got into this in the first place.
Yeah.
But Rowan Atkinson is like, I love Rowan Atkinson.
Yeah. I knew how to put it. I was like, which one are you going to choose?
So good. Ugh. The best.
If your phone gallery leaked, what would we find most of?
Phone calendar?
Yeah, like a phone gallery. If like your photos.
Oh, my photos?
Yeah,
what
your
would you
photos.
find more of? I feel like you'd find like screenshots of like things I find on Instagram that I never end up revisiting. Just like random, like, oh yeah, that seems interesting. Screenshot, never look at it again.
Yeah.
Like just like random screenshots of like, little tidbits of like things I tell myself I'm gonna look at later.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Yeah.
I'm always so curious. My mom has like photos of trees or just like random screenshots throughout her phone.
Random
Nothing else.
screenshots.
Nothing else.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. I know, right?
Photos
Random
of trees.
screenshots of trees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last one.
Or actually, no. You probably would get a bunch of self-tape like takes, like probably, a bunch of just audition things that I've never deleted.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Story of every actor.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Last one. Advice to your younger self.
Advice to my younger self. Just keep doing it. Keep doing, like, don't just don't, it's the classic thing of if you look back 5 years from now, like my younger version of myself would look at what I'm doing now and be like, wow, that's so cool. That'd be so cool if I was doing that.
Yeah.
So I would believe that I would say the same thing, 10 years from now.
Yeah.
If we did this again and you asked me that question, I would probably say the same thing, which is to keep going and be fearless.
Do you have a note for your future self?
A note for my future self?
Yeah.
I do this thing actually where I every year on my birthday I write a diary.
Yeah.
And I've been doing it since I was 18.
Oh, that's sweet. That's a really good idea.
I'll kind of reflect on the year and then I'll ask my future self questions.
Mm-hmm.
But it's only ever a year out in advance.
Yeah.
So, but then what I'll do the next year is I'll, write and then I'll read back and answer those questions. But I think my future, I think the question I'd ask is, how many Oscars do you have now?
Okay, let's go. I need to bring you back and we're going to stitch this part.
I love it. Yeah,
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That was a really good rapid fire.
Yeah.
You did very well.
Cool. Hopefully fast enough.
Yeah, I've had all of my guests answer questions so quickly and like so well, and I always wonder how I would be on the other side because I freeze. I genuinely freeze.
I think I froze a lot. I think if we rewind that tape, there's some freezing going on there.
Yeah.
No. I think sure you do great.
I think we were good.
Yes,
yeah.
good. I'm glad.
Awesome. Moving on. So I think you said this even earlier, which is you were an entrepreneur and you started out as a performer. But when you get into filmmaking, nobody really talks about how you actually have to wear so many different hats and you do become a startup founder at the end of the day.
You do.
Right? So what is one thing that you have learned that has stayed with you through and through, that's kept you in this game, but it has nothing to do with acting, performing, or filmmaking?
Yeah. I think that the thing you need to survive, in my opinion, for sustainability in this industry is you need to have control over your time. Really important, because and whatever allows you to do that. Because especially if you want to make your own films, I think if you're a writer, there's a little bit of different. It's a little different, my opinion. But I don't know how you're going to be an assistant at CAA working those hours and also writing, directing, producing, and financing a feature film, right? I don't think that's practical. You need to have control over your time, and that can be hard because it's hard to survive.
Yeah.
But you need to, I think that for me is like, if I can figure out how to keep that control over my time, then that's what I'm paying for. That's what I'm buying. Keeping your expenses low, right? Not being ashamed of what your lifestyle is, because what the time you're getting is affording you to be able to do these things that so many people dream that they can do because they're so busy doing something else. Yeah. They don't have the time.
What does controlling your time even look like? Say for someone who is balancing a 9 to 5 and they have a creative endeavor. It doesn't even have to be filmmaking. Yeah. How do you balance the two? You want to do the creative stuff, but you have to pay the bills at the same time.
You do.
So how do you kind of balance the two?
I think if you have a 9 to 5, you just have to have boundaries and sort of you have to be able to leave it at the door, and with your creativity, you got to maximize weekends. You probably are going to be spending less time hanging out. Like, you're going to have to figure out what the trade-off is. Yeah. Right? Like, for me, I don't have a 9 to 5, right? So my trade-off is my financial stability is in question every month. Yeah. Right? That's the trade-off that I've made. But I have time. I can see my friends. I can go to the beach. I can write. I can make a film. I can do the thing. I can, you know what I mean? And then I survive how I survive, right? If you have a 9 to 5 and you have that schedule, then what's the trade-off you're willing to make, Yeah. You can only spend so much time doing certain things. So how badly does this thing matter to you, whatever that passion is, right? And now if you're doing it as a hobby and you're doing it creatively, do it for the sake of that, right? Yeah. But if you're trying to make it a profession, just something that you can that will eventually take over your 9 to 5, you have to take it seriously. Yeah. So I don't know what that looks like for everybody, but it's easy to let that slip. That's for me. Whenever I've been in that circumstance, I really struggle with doing both, which is why I made that choice to just say, all right, I'm going to quit the job and I'm going to figure it out from there.
No, absolutely. I think everyone has to make their choice. Tell our audience a little bit about Khrisp, because that is also a part of your full-time, right? So tell our audience a little bit about
Khrisp, that. Khrisp Entertainment is my production company, and the name comes from my dad's father. Like, I don't know what it is, but there's some, like, magical way that, like, words can be spelled and, like, done in a way that's good luck
I know what you're talking about.
I don't know what any of that is, but, like, my grandfather gave that to my dad when my dad was starting his company. And I was like, I like this. And I had this, like, since I was a kid. I'm like, you know what? I always had it in me that I was going to produce and I was going to make films, not just be a service provider as an actor. Yeah. Right? So Khrisp Entertainment, or Khrisp Productions, whatever, it's evolved a lot over the years, but that's my production company that I'm building. I even have it on, like, my very first short film that no one will ever see, from 2011.
Oh wow!
Right? Yeah,
okay.
It says Khrisp Productions at the end. So it's my production company, and we produce really, like, entertainment forward. Personal projects that have a genre, that have, like, a unique visual storytelling style. Those are the 4 things that we look for. And Four Samosas was our first, and Namaslay is our second, and then my feature is our third.
That's incredible. Yeah. And I think something that I was reading more about Khrisp is that you have the actors come to you.
That was at that time. So this is the thing. I'm always trying to figure out how to. So there was a point where I wanted to, there was a point where actors were looking for a demo reel, right? It's like, hey, instead of a demo reel, why don't we make a short film for you, right? You might pay this demo reel company a certain amount of money. Let's go make a short film and go get it into festivals and, like, build a team around it. Didn't end up working out because it turns out actors don't have that much money.
That makes sense. Yeah, I was going to
actually. Well, the funny thing about it did work a couple of times, but what I noticed is it's this weird sliding scale. Like, the more well off the customer was, the less talented they were. if that makes any sense.
Yeah, so you didn't
the
want
more talented they were, the more broke they were. So I couldn't afford to make the thing. You know what I mean?
Okay,
So
yeah.
I was like, and a part of me was also doing that because, again, I'm trying to find a creative way for me to get my reps in as a director, as a producer, as a screenwriter, whatever it is, right? So I was like, okay, cool. Like if this can be a win-win, and we did it for a couple, clients, and that worked, but it ultimately wasn't sustainable. That basically failed, and I had to, reinvent that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was an idea I had that okay, like, can we have the actors? Like, can we figure out that win-win?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I thought it was a very cool idea when I read about
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Because I
yeah.
have not seen any other production company kind of put the actor in the focal point.
Totally.
Yeah, and I think
because you don't,
yeah.
it's like, and that's the thing. Like, hey, if you're an actor, like, we would, it was very in depth. It was very in depth producing. Really, it's like, hey, what kind of character do you want to play?
Yeah.
Like, what's your dream role? Let's make that happen. We'll make the script. We'll just make it all
fantastic.
for you. You know.
Do you think you'd ever revisit this now that you have your connections with your investors and maybe you can make a really solid film?
Well, you know what's funny? I feel like independent cinema is basically that, anyways.
Yeah.
Think about it, right? Instead of the actor being for a short film, you're going to get some actor that was like a star from the early 2000s, and you're saying, hey, guess what? We're going to build the script all around you, right? And we're going to get this team and this, that, and the other, but the budget is just much bigger.
Yeah,
it's the same idea.
Fair.
I mean, you get advice like, oh yeah, write a screenplay that some big A-lister could star in. That's the same thing. I mean, it's obviously different, right? Because the actor isn't necessarily paying for it, or are they? Because you are off international sales or off whatever it is, right? They are kind of paying for it, right? So it's I think thinking about like what's in it for the other side, like really.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, would I bring that back? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if the if the margins were ever really good enough.
Okay.
For me, it was really just about getting the reps in, and seeing how I could survive in the meantime.
Yeah.
But pandemic also happened, which hurt us.
Of course, yeah. So what I'm basically hearing is, one, don't be afraid to pivot. If you have to, do it, and do it at your terms, on your terms. Two is make your own choices. Like, if you have to balance a 9 to 5 and then do the creative hustle, like, do it if that makes sense for you. But if you have to go either route, just make your own choice and cut out the noise.
Yes.
So yeah, I feel like that's what I'm hearing from your conversation right now. But I also want to dive into your background a little bit. We had Anjul Nigam on the podcast, and he said something so powerful, which was basically being South Asian is your wardrobe. At the end of the day, it's human stories. And there's definitely some beauty to that statement because, for example, like I watch a lot of K-drama. I don't understand the language. Yeah. But I resonate with the story and the emotion, right? I want to understand from you, now that you are making these films, one's called Namaslay, so of course it's got a little bit of that South Asian element to it.
It does.
How are you honoring the specificity of your culture, but also not becoming the spokesperson for your community? Because I feel like that's happening a lot now, right? Within the industry.
It's true, yeah. I mean, I think the spokesperson thing is, I don't know if anyone ever elected themselves in that way, you know? I mean, I think for me, I look at it in a very specific way because I'm from Atlanta. I did not grow up within South Asian sort of, I don't know, like my parent, like we lived in Buckhead, and then all of the Indians lived in Alpharetta.
Okay, so completely.
It's a totally different thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I didn't go to school with any, other South Asian folks or anything like that. But like at home, of course, that was our culture. That was, so for me, it like very much is, and also just being an actor for as long as I've been, because I started in high school, went to performing arts high school, and I was the only brown kid in that circumstance. And so I've always been keenly aware about the fact that this is what I am. Also being darker skinned, it's like, well, that's what it is. But the thing is I don't think about it any more than that. Like I had a friend, the best way I feel like I can describe it is I had a friend who's half black, half white. But he didn't have his dad in his life, and his mother raised him. And so but then he told me that he recently reconnected with his dad, and he was like, oh wow, like I feel like that it's crazy to sort of see that reflected, within him, because his culture, let's say, is not that. But I told him, I'm like, listen, man, your experience is as a black man. Yeah. That's it. That experience that you have, that's that. You don't have to, change anything about what you have done or haven't done. And I think about that a lot for myself. It's like I walk around the world, just inherently, my experience is that. Yeah. I don't need to comment on it. I don't need to bring it up. I don't need to, I don't know, accentuate it in any way. It just, by virtue of that as being a fact, I bring that to me. So, but what I'm not doing is just going, well, I'm just, a white guy walking around with brown skin, right? I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
It's just, this is who I am, right?
Yeah.
But again, I'm not trying to, overcompensate by trying to be more brown than maybe I feel I am. I don't think about it that way,
Yeah.
It's just like who I am.
Absolutely. I think it's so important because a lot of the times I think everyone's feeling this, but we're not having that conversation where diversity is not just about ethnicity. It's also about the background and the culture and the experiences that we bring. So, for example, our ethnicities are Indian, but you and I have had such different upbringings that makes us diverse. Like, my story is not going to be yours and vice versa. And so when we are talking about cinema at large, we're never going to be able to represent everyone together. It's about how that movie is going to make you feel. And sometimes it makes you feel like you're escaping the real world. Sometimes you see a friend in that movie. Sometimes you see a story you've heard, right? They're all collective experiences at the end of the day. So I appreciate you saying that.
Totally.
Yeah. How are you kind of using that part of your identity in the stories you're creating?
Oh my gosh, how do I answer that question without giving everything away? I mean, it's... Yeah, I think... All right, well, I'll say one thing, and not going into too much details of this, of the film that I'm making, but part of the concept of it is that the main character... So this is my experience, this is where it came from, is that I have... part of what my experience is that my parents want me to get married. And so guess what they do? They send me all these biodatas and all these things, right? Yeah, of course, right? This is the relatable thing. Like, let's not pretend like this isn't still happening in 2026.
Yeah.
We're not, it's not the olden days where, but it's still, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's like a culture behind that, right? So for example, in this film, that's a part of the story. But the difference is, and it's the way that I look at it. It's that it's not that the parents are saying, oh, you need to do this like the big sick or whatever, right? It's like, no, he's actually the one that's like, yo, like, I think I want to do this, right? I think this is a great way to meet people. And his parents are like, I don't know if that's a good idea.
Okay.
Because this character gets out of this long-term relationship and he's kind of spiraling out. So he's just like looking to fill the void. And it's like, well, you guys did it and it worked for you. So, sign me up. Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
And it's like, they're like, maybe you should calm down. Maybe you should do this, So like for me, like that's not me trying to like take a trope and even subvert it or anything. That's just what my experience was.
Yeah.
Right. And but it's authentic to me, right? And so it's like that's the way I try to bring it into what I'm doing. It's just like, what am I going through, and how do I bring that to the screen, right? In a way that I think will be impactful to the audience ultimately, right?
At the end of the day, it has to make sense.
But not doing a movie where it's like, oh, it's just a bunch of stories where it's like, okay, well, they're all white. It's like, oh, well, we can be white too. It's like, no, it's not about that, right? Because our culture is a part of what we bring to the table. So let's not pretend like that's not actually there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. 100%. No, thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah. I'm so excited to watch it. It's coming out in August.
Sorry, that's Namaslay.
Okay.
This movie is what I just described, the story of the film that I directed.
Okay.
I'm not sharing anything about Namaslay.
Okay.
I'm not going to say anything about it. You guys have to you should follow Jungle Studios on Instagram, and that's where we've been posting everything about it. The directors are posting. And also my producing partners on it. So we're kind of, building the suspense for that.
I'm excited.
But very similar. I mean, that's a movie that was made completely outside the studio system.
Yeah.
Right? We had, I would say, we did have more of a budget, let's say, than most films do get. And, but we really maximized that. And I think we were assembling the Avengers, if you will.
Yeah.
All of our department heads, like, when you're in a position to be able to make those decisions, we brought in our friends who are, our cinematographer is from AFI, and like just a friend of mine, he shot a short film that I directed, and I brought him in for this film. You know what I mean? Our production designer is also South Asian. Like, it's just like, but it's all these people that didn't get that chance to do a full feature because they're like in the union and like an associate, blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, cool. Like, here's an opportunity. Let's make something together. So anyways, it's so there's a lot going on.
Okay, we'll be tuning in. Jungle Studios it is.
Jungle
awesome.
Studios,
Awesome. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit more about niche, because we're like South Asian also ends up becoming a niche when you talk about storytelling.
I know.
But in general, we're always told, especially through social media, like pick a niche because clarity is going to scale. I've seen a lot of careers be successful without being in a niche, and I feel like you or Lily Singh, for example, have been great examples of that, where you didn't put yourself in a box. So I want to ask you, is niche truly a strategy that you need to build, or can you just put yourself out there based on what's coming from you right now?
Interesting. So in business, we talk about this idea that you don't want to be a solution in search of a problem, which basically means you don't want to sort of, every filmmaker thinks they have the best movie. Yeah. Every entrepreneur thinks they've got the next whatever, meta or whatever you want to say, right? But who's asking for it, right? Like the good thing, sometimes it's the same way with the genre, right? With filmmaking, the benefit to genre is that there's a construct there, there's a niche, there is a framework that kind of helps the audience try to, they got to make a quick snap judgment about what they're getting, right? Yeah. And so, yes, I think the answer is there has to be a fusion of both. It's like, as a filmmaker, you look at a Martin Scorsese, he made, these films for himself, right? The films that, like, whether it's Silence or Taxi Driver or, The Last Temptation of Christ. But those films, the audiences, that's where he was doing it for him. But what are the films he's known for? Goodfellas, The Departed, The Wolf of Wall Street. These are all gangster movies. That's a niche. Yeah. But that's what he's known for. Right? So you can do both, but I think you do have to acknowledge that, there is a version of yourself that is the commercial version, let's say, and then there's the version of yourself as an artist that maybe is not as much, and that's okay. There's a space for all of it. I think starting out, you have to kind of find both. You have to explore both. You have to do the niche stuff, and you have to do your thing, right? And see what happens, right? You're not going to know unless you just try and iterate and go quick.
Have you identified that for yourself?
I'm getting there. Yeah. I'm getting there. Look, I'm still learning. I went to a garage sale yesterday and I saw a book about film directing. I'm like, I'm just going to pick this book up and, all right, cool, let's learn. Like, it doesn't matter how many years of school or films or whatever. It's like, it's constantly learning. All these movies could fail. It's possible. Yeah.
But I'm manifesting that everything's successful.
No. But like, it already is a success. That's the thing, right? I guess what I'm saying is not being attached to that outcome and being like, okay, cool, we did this. Right, the win is the thing that we made. Yeah. Right.
And then you move on to the next.
You take the learning lessons, and now you're better. Yeah. The more failures you have, again, the more investable you are because you have more experience making mistakes. Yeah. So you're more likely to make less mistakes, and that's success. Making less mistakes.
I love that. So let's say everything that you've been saying is true, right? Yeah. Failure is your learning path. You can be successful outside the traditional studio system. So where are we seeing Venk Potula in the whole future of global entertainment? What's next for you?
Oh my gosh. I really look up to what, like I said, like whether it's a Ryan Coogler or Spike Lee, or these filmmakers that are able to, or Scorsese, or a Bong Joon-ho. There's a Japanese filmmaker I love, Hirokazu Koreeda, who makes some of the most beautiful films that I'm inspired by. And I don't know. I think for me, I remember when when Slumdog Millionaire won the Oscar. I think I might have been in the 8th grade or something, 7th grade. I don't know. And I was so overcome with emotion that, like, that movie won Best Picture, that on my Facebook post at the time where you could say your status is, and I was like, Slumdog Millionaire won, and I spelled the name completely wrong, and I put all these exclamation marks and all these things, as like a status update. Yeah. And Facebook like reminded me of it like 15 years later, 13 years later, and I was like, wow, like that meant something to me. And I think why I got into this is I wanted to try and be a role model. I wanted to try and become somebody who could be successful, specifically as a brown man, and prove that you can do this, because it's very difficult to do entertainment from our family background and everything. It's so, just being a child of immigrants like many other communities, it's not something that's common. Yeah. And I wanted to not prove them wrong, but just prove myself right and be like, yo, I can do it. If I can do it, and I literally did this with nothing. Like, I didn't come out here with any industry experience. My first short films I made for hundreds of bucks. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, we can all afford to do that, and like, I've been able to build that. So for me, like, I want to try and become somebody like a Ryan Coogler or like a Spike Lee, these filmmakers who have an impact in their community and bring their community with them, but also make amazing stories that are both personal and commercial, and can kind of find that intersection. And I don't think it's happened yet in terms of the movies, like, in terms of our community yet.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's quite, you know, we've got Black Panther, we've got Crazy Rich Asians. Where are we at?
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't have that yet.
Yeah.
You know, and so I want to create that future where we can have so many examples of that, so that people can put in more, you know, films in their pitch decks
Yes,
to try and
yeah.
get their movies made. But we got to show up at the box office. We have to be united, and we have to, like, there has to be an element of there's a cause to this. We're not all out individually for ourselves.
Yeah.
That way we're going to tear ourselves down and we're never going to get anywhere. Right? So we have to, like, promote each other and build each other up and show up at the box office
Absolutely.
and pay the money.
Yeah.
And get everybody to, like, I called my dad on with the Crazy Rich Asians. I was like, yo, we're going to this movie now. I don't care if you like it or not. Like, we're doing this, right? So we need to do that, because if we can, then I think there's an opportunity to build something that can be like a legacy and can last. And I want to try and spearhead that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. We have to bring you on for one, the Oscars, too. Let's see how we put ourselves on the map.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Yes.
Thank you so much. This was such a great conversation.
I know. It was so awesome. Yeah. Thank you so
Awesome.
much for having me. It's such
Of
a
course.
pleasure.
Of course.
I'm
No.
honored. I know. Well, that's what happens.
Filming.